All right. Hello and welcome back to the Living Proof Podcast. I'm here today with my good friend Brandon Quire, who's also my roommate. Say something.
What's up?
All right. First things first, man. How you been? How's your summer? How you feel about school coming up soon?
It's been a good summer. Did a lot. I enjoyed it more than last summer, and I'm honestly excited for school because it's less credit hours. Last semester was really, really
Dude, last
stressful.
semester was cooked, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was fine up until final time. Final time, everything just like destroyed itself. Like went downhill like crazy.
Yeah, I was dying the whole time. I was dying.
mm. Hey, at least you don't have to do chemistry.
Yeah, that was probably like that wasn't even the worst of it though.
Did you do chemistry over the summer though?
I well, I would have done it like knowing ahead of time like how bad it would be to take it with everything else. But I know I could have because one of my friends did.
Wait, so what'd you take this summer though?
I took so for Rat 105 because I didn't put scores in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take like two writing classes at Oakton. Parkland, you can just take one, but you have to like I had to like redo all the what's it called placement testing I did.
Yeah.
So I just took at Oakton. You take like two composition classes, and so I took one this semester, and then I also took econ.
Mm. Okay.
So that was, yeah.
Valid. Yeah,
I'm
that's
probably gonna take another one next semester. But I mean, I probably could finish it during the winter, but they'll be paying for all my college.
mm.
I'll probably just wait for them to like be on a little grace period. It'll be fine.
Oh, that's fair. I just had my one stupid CS class. That was never doing that again, bro. I hate logic and I hate discrete structures. That was awful.
What was that bad?
Dude, it wasn't like bad. It was just boring. Cause every time, like you had to, I don't know, you had to memorize conditional statements and stuff like that. But glad it's done. I would not have liked taking that over the school year. That would have been sucky. So I'm glad I took it now. But
Yeah. But how was your summer?
uh,
Oh, you
more
were
working and schoolwork than actually hanging out. I haven't hung out with someone in like 3 weeks, and the only thing I've done, I've watched more movies than I don't know. I've watched as many movies as people I've seen, and I've only watched 6 movies. So,
okay, okay.
like, I saw you, Daniel,
Yeah,
Jonathan,
yeah.
Kimmy, and then I think I want to say I saw Joel before he left, and then
Okay.
Kenji I've seen. But I've only those are like the only people I've seen. I don't know if I've seen Rami. I can't remember, but I have not gone out, dude. I've barely
Okay.
done anything. But hey, such is life. I hung out with a couple coworkers though, but that's like,
Yeah. But you got
like
some money now from working.
yeah, and I'm gonna spend it all on stupid stuff like a skateboard. By the way, I'm gonna buy that and send it to your house. So
You're gonna buy the skateboard off of me?
I'm gonna have you buy it, and then I will sell you so that my parents don't get sus that I have that purchase on the credit card.
That
Then
sounds.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna have you just bring it to school.
So I'm bringing two skateboards to school.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll deliver before the 18th. If it doesn't, then I'll have it delivered to the dorm.
Is it another skateboard or is it like a longboard or something?
It's a skateboard. It's just gonna be the deck, the trucks and stuff I'm getting at the skate shop down there. But
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that, I can. Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. All right. Anyway, opening scripture today. Today's topic is money. So
Mhm.
opening scripture is gonna be Luke 18:25, Luke chapter 6, I believe, verses 18 through 25. Don't quote me on that. I messed up my typo. But anyway, when Jesus heard his answer, he said, "There is still one thing you haven't done. Sell all your possessions and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." But when the man heard this, he became very sad, for he was very rich. When Jesus saw this, he said, "How hard is it for the rich to enter the kingdom of God? In fact, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for the rich person to enter the kingdom of God." So, I don't know. Today's topic obviously is going to be dealing with money. And this, if you don't know the story, basically it's about a rich ruler that comes up to God while Jesus is walking around giving parables and stuff like that. So this rich ruler comes up to him and he's like, hey man, what do I gotta do to be saved? And Jesus pretty much gave him the Ten Commandments. He's like, have you done this? Have you committed adultery? Have you lied? Have you stealed? He's like, no, I do all those things. And he's like, okay, good. Sell everything you have. And he's like, I don't know about that one, bro. I kind of like my money. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's kind of hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And I kind of agree with that because for a lot of people, money is kind of distractions, right? If you get too
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with money and too obsessed with uh, trying to get it, you lead yourself down a path that then places worldly possessions above God, and so it's just you kind of like lose track of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely do.
And so I had you on here because I know you love your motion, man. You love your money, but
Yeah.
you don't let it like get to you crazy though, right?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just like it comes down to like hobbies and stuff. I just like feeling hobbies because hobbies make me happy. It's kind
Yeah,
of like that. And some hobbies just like and how society is, it requires money. Like if I want stuff in my car, it just costs money. It's how it is. If I want shoes, it's just how it is.
that's why I hate that it's like that though because I want to do so many things. Like I want to go vacations, travel, see sights, but everything is limited by a money barrier. Like you need money to just exist in like some random country, which I find
Yep.
okay. I mean, it's fair. You gotta travel for plane tickets and staying at a hotel and stuff like that. But like, if I just want to
Yeah.
like exist, like go into open countryside, why do I need to pay money for that, man? It's like, bro.
Yeah.
And then there's like working on cars and stuff like that. I want to work on cars because I obviously I'm a mechanical engineer, so I want to work on stuff like that. But when everything's blocked by money, like I can't work on a car without getting a car or having a
Yeah.
job that works on cars, and even then, that's I don't know. It's like becomes
Yeah.
a job instead of a hobby.
Yeah, it's true.
So I wonder if Daniel liked working at Jiffy Lube because he likes doing car stuff, but like he had to do that as a job. I don't know if I'd ever want to turn my hobby into a job, you know?
Yeah, how he talked about it, it seemed like, well, it seemed like he liked it because it was like his first. It was kind of like during his like entrance phase in the car, so he was like it helped him with getting to know like how to work
Mm-hmm.
on them. So
Okay,
I feel
that's
like that
valid.
was. But if you do it for like 20 years, I mean, I'm sure at some point it's gonna be like not about the hobby anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just be like doing it just because it's a job. I find there are rare cases where people. I don't even think they're rare. There are cases where people are like, "Yeah, I love this. I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm still gonna do it for the rest of my life because I just loved it." Like people do that. That's the thing. But
Yeah,
it's
some
just like,
people like that. Yeah,
and then on the other hand, there's the where people only get into things for money, and I feel like that's a lot of. I see a lot of my friends that used to. Some of my friends that used to go to SES. I don't know what they're doing now, but they're like making like sales. They're like part of this like
what type of sales?
I don't know, dude. It's like my brother calls it a it seems like a pyramid scheme, like an MLM, but I don't know what they're doing. They're just making quote unquote a lot of money. They don't even go to college. They just do that and get money, go places, stuff like that. And I'm
That
like,
sounds
you said it sounds cool.
sketch.
Yeah, it sounds sketch. I'm like, there's no way. I don't even know. I don't know the details of it. I don't want to get involved. I'm just like happy for them, bro. If they're making money and living life, I don't really care. It's just like how, at what point does making money become like the end all be all? Like I'm gonna get this
Mm.
job because it makes the most money. I'm gonna go to college to get this job because it makes the most money. I don't even like the topic, but hey, if it makes me money, then what's like? You're not even doing what you love. You're not enjoying your life. You're just guided by money. You know?
I mean, you see it in society sometimes. Like, I mean, this is kind of an extreme example, but like, we'll call them models slash actresses. Like, they don't all like what they do, but like, anytime they gotta like explain it, they're like, "Oh, it brings home money. It brings in a lot of money. I make 300 grand a month, 400 grand a month." But they're not proud of what they do. They're not happy about what they do.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Like
with this money,
they don't
and
even. I couldn't. And then they'll be interviewed and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm like a female actress." Like they're like, "What kind
yeah,
of videos do
like,
you do?" They're like,
gotta
uh,
stand on your business, bro.
but
If you're
like,
gonna,
yeah, if you follow
I
money
feel
to the point where you lose discipline, then it's
like
just like Or you
Yeah,
lose dignity. Sorry, not discipline. You lose dignity, and
yeah,
like, what's the point in doing it, bro?
that's what I'm saying. Uh,
I don't know.
but well, I guess it works for them. Or so they say it works for them.
They say it works, but I don't know if any of them are really happy. And if they are, I feel like they're lying to themselves. Cause
Yeah,
they,
because it gets bad sometimes. Because then like they have like family that disown them. Like
yeah.
one actress said, like I haven't talked to my dad in like 6 years because of it. And
Mm.
really, all she has is all this money, but her family disowned her. Like she can't get in relationships because of what she does. It's like, is there a point where it's worth it? Even
Right.
if you're making millions of dollars, you know?
Right. Like, at what point does millions of dollars matter more than your family or more than your
Yeah,
dignity or more than your like I don't know
yeah,
your relationships in life, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And that leads me to my next question of like, does
Mm.
success like does life success come from how much money you make or like the job you have or like stuff like that, you know?
I feel like it varies from person to person, but at least for me, I feel like success isn't just money. It's also there's also some self fulfillment. Like, are you proud of everything you've done? Are you happy with where you are now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's things like that. But not all those things are quantified by money. Like, if you're like, I don't know, like you you've had a certain amount of kids and you've like raised them well,
Mm-hmm.
like that part of success. Like, I made this much money and I retired with this much, so I could pass it down. That could be part of like it. It depends,
Yeah, it does depend. I
but
think
I say, yeah, I say for me, just like it's not only quantified by money.
mm, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that too. Like success isn't defined by just money alone. I think a lot
yeah,
of people see that and think, "Oh, I want to be able to buy a fast car, live in a fancy house, and yada yada yada." And that ties
yeah,
into money. Like that's a lifestyle kind of thing. It's not just, "Oh, I want money." They're like, "I want to
yeah.
live this certain type of lifestyle." But even then, it's like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it, man? To like force yourself to listen to all these influencers on Instagram or TikTok and be like, yeah, I gotta do exactly what they're doing because they broke out of the matrix and they're making money instead of working a 9 to 5. So I gotta do what they did, and I gotta listen to their tips and stuff like that. Like, is it really that deep and that serious? You can make money in many different ways. So I don't think,
There's some ways to make money, especially now.
right? Like, there's
There's
so many ways.
no way.
So it's like, I don't think everyone has to follow each other and to do what everybody else does to make the same amount of money. Like, do what you love, yeah, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't do something just because it'll make me quote unquote successful. And I don't think successful is determined by being the next Jeff Bezos. Like,
Yeah.
speaking of that dude, Warren Buffett, I was watching a video earlier and he made like a bunch of billions in stock market sales because he sold his stocks right before the stock market crashed, like on Monday. I don't know how he knew that, but dude's a smart guy.
Yeah, that was.
I don't even know, like, how do you predict that, dude? He had
You think he had
no,
like in his ear too, though? Like, I'm sure he got some people. If he by himself predicted that,
mm,
then to him. But I mean, like with the amount of money he has, I'm sure he has some advisors.
yeah, he probably does. But he keeps, hasn't gone bankrupt, so bro's still winning. I'm like, that's crazy. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have,
props to him.
yeah, got a verse to go with that. It's Luke 12:15 for like success stuff. Then he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all." Hold on, take a loading. Against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions, and that's what I think. How you were saying, success does not come from money alone. Like,
Hmm.
life does not consist of just like how much money you have, or even how many items you have. Like, how many cars, how many houses. I've seen people have different houses, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to have a beach house when I grow up." I'm like, "Why? What is the point?" I mean, yeah, you want to go relax somewhere where you can just live, but like at that point, just pay for a hotel. Why am I paying mortgage for a house that I don't even live at? Like what?
Mm,
And it's just like, oh, I just had the money to do so. Like, yeah, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
true,
And they're like,
true.
oh, I want this house, I want this house, I want this car. Like, that's greed, man. Greed will blind you. Greed will
It will.
blind you like crazy. It happened to me. I think it happened to me like last. I don't want to say last year, but the year before. I was so like my second year going into my job. All I wanted to do was work, 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 and not have any time to like hang out with people because I wanted money. I don't know why I wanted money so badly. I didn't even do anything with it, but I wanted money to the point where it was like driving me to go to work to pick up every single shift, which it eventually tired me out, and I realized that. But
Yeah.
I didn't really care because I was like, hey, as long as I'm getting money.
Hmm.
Ended up using that money on like food and whatnot junior, senior year. So it was like, what was even the point? I didn't even use it on something worthwhile, you know what I mean? Like, that food was
Yeah.
digested, long gone out of my body, never to be seen again. But hey, I got my, I got money, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you still got some out of it. I like not everything has to last forever.
Yeah, I'm not saying it should last forever, but like, oh, speaking of lasting, I'll get to that later. But I'm not saying everything should last forever. But it's
Yeah.
like there are things there are things you should spend your money on. You ought to spend your money on, and there are things that would just fill your greed and satisfy you instantly. You know, it's not like for the future, it's just for the present.
Yeah.
So that's just like another thing. Another verse that I like about it is Psalm chapter 1 verses 1 through 3. Blessed is the
Hmm.
one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. The person in the person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. And that also comes in. I think that also ties into success because it says whatever you do prospers if you're rooted in the Lord. So if you want to
Hmm.
make money, yeah, that's great. But if you're not rooted in God, it's not from the right mindset, right? Like I've
Hmm.
heard, I've seen a lot of sermons about giving back to the church, especially if you're like a consistent church goer. So like if you go every Sunday, then you give a tithe back to the Lord because you're giving up back to Him what is rightfully His. So
Yeah.
in that sense, like your money's not yours; it's from God. You're just using it to further His will, as opposed to
Yeah.
taking that money, saying like, "Lord, please give me, please let me have this money so I can buy a car," or
Yeah.
like just taking it and using it for your own personal gain and not furthering Christ's will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So like, I think kind of agree with that sentiment. But then like,
Yeah.
yeah, what are you gonna say?
No, I was agreeing with what you said.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
What
then
were you
there's
gonna say?
another thing that like people think. Yeah, you ever heard the phrase? I mean, I know you've heard the phrase "money can buy you happiness."
Yeah. Well, I've heard it both ways. I've heard
That's what I'm
money
saying.
can't.
I've heard it both ways now.
Yeah.
I think. What do you think before I give my opinion?
About money can't buy
Yeah,
happiness. Or,
either one. Which one do you believe, or which one do you side with, or is it both?
uh, I mean, I feel like money. I guess like money can fund things that make you happy, but I feel like if we're being really literal, like money itself doesn't really bring you happiness. It just really gets you opportunities that can make you happy.
Mm.
But I mean, not everything is about money either. Like there's things that don't cost money that can make you happy. Like let me think of examples. Like religion for a lot of people, it brings them like I can't think of the word, but like it'll make you happy.
Yeah.
You happy. Things like sports, like working out, like stuff like that. I mean, well, I guess you have to pay for memberships and stuff, but like not everything that makes you happy has to be like monetized, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sleeping happy, like that's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I get that. I think yeah, because money. There's some things you can get that'll make you happy, but money is like not the only thing you can get happiness from. And I
Yeah,
think money buying happiness. I don't know. I feel like that's a misconstrued statement. Like people say money can buy you happiness. Money doesn't buy you happiness. Money buys you the thing that you get happiness from. So
yeah,
money's like a gateway to it. Money doesn't buy happiness. Can't
yeah,
physically
yeah,
buy the feeling. Like if I gave money to some dude, okay, if I gave money to like a homeless person walking down the street, say, right? And
Hmm.
for all I know, they're like, this is an extreme example, but they're like an extreme gambler. Like they spend all their money to hopefully get the jackpot. So if I give him
Yeah,
that
yeah,
money, he spends the money, and then goes somehow wins the lottery with that money, and then he's just like a millionaire. You think he's
yeah.
gonna be happy or no?
I think in the moment he'll be happy because he's thinking about everything he can do with it. And
Yeah,
I know, I mean, also just like the thrill of winning something where you know,
yeah,
like the odds are completely against you. Like you're gonna get some burst of enjoyment.
yeah. And then he's gonna go spend it on gambling, and then he's gonna be broke again.
You can give him benefit of the doubt. You know, maybe he'll open up a bank account. You never know.
Yeah, I'm not saying
He
like
probably,
that's the end all. Like that's the only situation. I'm just giving an example. Like, money can buy you happiness, but happiness is temporary. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
that's why joy from the Lord is eternal. Speaking of eternal, eternal riches.
yeah,
Hebrews 13:5, man. Don't be obsessed with money, but live content with what you have, for you always have God's presence. For hasn't he promised
mm,
you, I will never leave you, never, and I will not loosen my grip on your life. There are also other riches about setting your sights on what's focused or what's stored up for you in heaven. Talking about
yeah,
heavenly riches as opposed to earthly riches. So I think
yeah, yeah,
some people, like when they talk about being rich, they talk about being spiritually rich. I want to be, like me personally, I want to be spiritually rich. I don't want to be like cool. I'd love to have money, but I'm not gonna
yeah,
really do anything with it. I don't know what I'd do if I was a millionaire. Like honestly, because the way my parents have raised me, like I don't want to spend money just because I have it. So if I was a millionaire, I really don't. There'd be so much that I could do that I wouldn't decide on one thing, and I'd probably just sit with it.
yeah. That's fair.
But like being spiritually rich, you can't take that away, man. Having the Lord with you at all times. I mean, He's with us at all times anyway. But like feeling that,
Yeah,
that gives you joy that cannot be bought, in a sense. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, it's a saying where like, um, money you can't live without it, but you can't take it with you when you die. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like really rich, like that's forever.
Yeah, man.
Honest, at least that's how I see it. So I feel like it's good to have both because I mean you don't want to be living bad because you don't have money, but you should also put like put what you have into something that's like has some longevity. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. And I like associate with people that like invest their money and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put this in the bank and it'll grow and I'll have like multi-millionaire. I'll have like a multi-million dollars. Like, yeah,
yeah,
that's a good idea. I respect people that do that. I don't respect people that go and just spend their money instantly. Or people that the saying act broke to stay rich. I respect people like that. Like if you're rich
mm,
and you don't flaunt it, that shows humility. And humility is
yeah,
another thing that you have to have if you're literally rich.
yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you're rich, people are gonna hit you up. People are gonna act like you're such a great person. Blah blah blah, and it can get to your head. It gets to a
It
lot of
does.
millionaires' head, and they act like they're the hot shot of the world because they have $1 million or $1 billion or whatever.
Yeah,
But then it just comes down to like being humble and saying, "This is not from me. This is from
hmm,
God, and He gave me like blessings with it. So I'm gonna take it and do
yeah,
what I can to further His will." You know.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I hope, I don't know. I hope in the future that when I get like successful, I'll be like that and not just floundering my money around like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I feel like a lot of that stuff starts off like from when you're young and being raised, you know, like how you act later in life. Like
Yeah.
if you're like to be responsible and stuff. You may have a couple hiccups just like being free and like, you know, whenever you're new to something, sometimes you're gonna make mistakes or do stuff that you wouldn't do if
Mm-hmm.
you've been doing it for a while. But I feel like it comes down to, you know, your morals, which like, you know, carry on with you as you grow.
Yeah.
So,
So I want to get. I'm gonna get into this in another episode, but like the
mhm.
way you grow up definitely determines how you live and how close or far you are from God. I think a lot of people's like the way they're raised by their parents definitely play into how they are as an adult. It
Mhm.
shows like it shows very clearly. If you like, you'll never see it like as an adult, but you can like tell from people that have like abusive problems or stuff like that. But even
Yeah,
the
yeah,
like the people that are good people, they got that. They didn't always get it from their parents. There are some cases where they're like, "Oh, my parents treated me like trash, so I'm gonna go out and treat the world better because nobody deserves that kind of thing." So
Yeah, yeah.
it's not always like a direct cause. It could be the contra or the converse or the inverse, but like
Mhm.
it's never. It's always some tell of like how you were raised. So I think if you're raised with good money habits, then definitely carries over into the future when you're with that money, and then you're teaching your kids good money habits, and then that just stays.
Yeah, gets passed down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, generation.
I was thinking of a line from Central Sea Sprinter, bro. The stupid generational wealth. I was making a Christian version of that last night before I went to bed, and I was like, because I was just bored, and I was like, I like that song, so I was gonna turn it into something I can actually rap about, and then I fell asleep. So,
So you never finished it.
no, I'm gonna finish it today. I just wanted to go to sleep so I could wake up tomorrow. Worked out for the first time in what is it, a week? No, not a week, a month.
Dang,
I
man.
haven't swam in a month, and then today's like, I gotta get up and do something. Gotta lock in for college, so the next week and a half, I'm gonna be getting back into my schedule of getting up early, working out, and then starting my day.
We're 5 minutes away from the arc.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I could walk across the street and I'm at the arc, bro.
Very nice. I don't think we
Somehow.
have a living room. I
Hmm?
looked at our floor plan, and I don't think we have one.
No, that's a sweet, bro. What do you mean? There's another verse that I like from Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is a lot of book that it's a book that basically summarizes like everything on this world is meaningless without God. So like you could have anything in the world because Solomon it was from Solomon. Solomon was a king with like everything. He had riches, he had wives, he had power, and all of it was not enough. He even had wisdom too. Like all of it was nothing until until he had God, pretty much. Like if he
Hmm.
didn't have God, all of it would amount to literally nothing. So Ecclesiastes 5:10 says, "Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless." And obviously the context is meaningless without God, but he just says meaningless. So I don't know. It says whoever loves money never has enough, and I think that can be true. Like if
Hmm.
you love money, you'll never have enough of it, and you'll keep buying. It's because I think you'll keep getting it and spending it, getting it and spending it. Even if you don't spend it, you'll keep getting it and getting it and getting it, and whatever amount you get will not be enough because you'll always feel like you need more, and
Yeah, yeah.
so it'll just become like a crazy desire, and you'll be like, man, I do not have enough money. I need more, and you'll keep getting it and getting it and getting it, and eventually it'll just be like, okay, when does this end? Like,
I feel like it never does. If you're that addicted to
yeah, it will
getting,
never. If you're that addicted, it doesn't end, and that's like I've seen some people like that. I that was like before I was truly about Christ, so I never really mentioned it or addressed it. But if I saw them today, I'd be like, man, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth
uh,
losing your soul just to get some money.
yeah, it's not.
Like all these artists out here doing some crazy work just to get a deal with some company so they can promote their music, or getting doing these crazy little music videos just so they can get some money. I'm like, it's not worth it, man. Cause where's the limit? Like if you'll keep doing stuff and doing stuff and doing stuff to get money, where's the limit? Where's the respect where you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop. This is a little too far. It
That's
just
the
keeps
thing.
going forever.
Yeah, you kind of like you like chase new highs each time, and then there's a point where there's just never a limit because you keep aiming, you keep aiming higher each time because you look at the last thing you did and you're like, oh, it's not that bad compared to this.
Right. And it'll never
Yeah,
like it didn't bring as much money as this next thing. Yeah, it's a little crazier, but it'll bring in more money, so let me do that. And it'll
but
keep
then
going down that pattern.
like where you start and you're like, wait, this is a big jump.
Yeah. That's why you gotta be content in God, man. He stays the same. So if you're content in him, however much money you get, however little money you get, there's always still a constant. And that's the thing. That's why you
Yep.
gotta be content in God always, because he will always be a constant. And that's the thing. The next verse that I think is important, and I'll probably be done after this. Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. And that kind of ties into like, do I seek God first, or do I just seek money? And then I'm like, yeah, I'll give to God when I feel like it, kind of thing. It ties
Mm.
into the verses before of like, if you seek God first, you'll prosper in everything you do.
Mm.
Whereas if you seek money first, you may not always be successful. And then you try and go to God, he'll be like, tried to help you, man, but you were too focused on your money. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
having a balance, but making sure you know who is the priority in your life. Who's like, because if obviously the Bible says to have no idols, can't have an idol of money, because that'll just replace God in your life, and nothing should replace God in your life. So you gotta know when to stop pursuing money and when to start pursuing God again, or just pursue God all the time, and you won't have an issue with it, and God will provide for you one way or another, because He always cares for His children, you know.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. After the summer, like I'm not keen on working anymore. Like I don't get me wrong, next summer will come around and I'll be like, yeah, I need an internship. I need one. But like
Yeah,
I I worked enough to the point where it's like I don't get how people can make this their whole life. Just like working, getting money. You don't have time to socialize and you definitely don't have time for guys, so it's like how do you
yeah,
balance? You definitely need balance in your life, you know?
yeah. Um, I mean, some people I know do it, and I feel like it seems like once they do it long enough, they don't realize like what they're missing out on.
Yeah.
Like they become so dedicated to like that grind, they forget like things that probably matter a little more than money. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I can't think of any specific examples, but like
Your
you
family?
could, well, I guess,
What do you mean I guess that's crazy?
cause I mean I don't know, cause it seems like kind of like my dad, like he like would work a lot because he would buy stuff and some stuff I kind of questioned if he could really afford it, but he would just work overtime and he'd be constantly working. But like recently, I told him because there's a car show on Sunday in Schaumburg,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I know you're working Sunday, and he really doesn't like taking work off unless it's like an event, like oh we're going back to school or something. He'll
Yeah.
take it off. But I'm like, it'd be cool if you took it off. And he seemed like hesitant at first, but when I told him about it, he was like, you know what, I'll see if I can make it work. And he's taking it off. So I feel like
Mm.
that's a good,
Yeah, it's
that's
valid,
good.
man. And it's like
So good.
I don't know. I know for me, I was upset because this happened like right when we got back from school, but my family went to Mexico and I didn't
Oh,
want to go because I wanted to work for whatever reason. I have no idea. I kind of regret it now, but it is what it is.
that's
I'm fine with either way.
uh,
So then
yeah.
they went. I didn't know my little cousin was going, so he went and he was
Mm.
like, "Where is Landon and Grant?" And my dad was like, "They're home. They didn't come." Bro was distraught. Bro was bro was upset for like hours, and I'm upset too because I wanted to see him. I haven't seen that dude in months. I just met him for the first time Thanksgiving break, and then
Yeah.
I was waiting, looking forward to when I could see him again. And lo and behold, I missed a chance I didn't even know I had. So it's like I was too obsessed with my work, and then I missed a chance to hang out with my family. So you know,
Yeah, I think that's just like something you can see as like a wake up call though.
yeah.
Cause it's always good to have a balance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had just gotten back from school, so like, it was understandable that I wanted to work, but taking a
Yeah,
week
yeah.
off is not the end of the world, bro. I should have just done that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Now I got 2 more days, 3 more days, and then I'm off next week. I work Saturday, and then back to school.
Yeah, you go back early.
Oh, you know, Aiden, our other roommate, he's coming back the same day as me, so we're gonna be there chilling together.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he has to go back for
Cool.
some ER job thing at Carl Hospital.
Oh, okay.
But he also has a bike, so you should talk to him about that.
Motorcycle?
Yeah.
Mm,
I know Daniel would have. I told Daniel, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get along with that too. I'm like, you probably will.
I
But,
will talk to that guy.
but yeah. 417, 418. I'm low key fine with wrapping up. You fine with wrapping up?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, I will probably be in person with two special guests, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.